Dinner for shoes, please.
Welcome to Dinner for Shoes.
Yeah.
Hello, and welcome to an episode of Dinner for Shoes, specifically shoe therapy. Haven't recorded one of these in a while, but I'm really excited that today we are having Aditi Shah on. She is my first ever special guest for a shoe therapy episode. And to be quite honest, I have been wanting to have a special guest on for shoe therapy for like a very long time. There are so many people in the mental health space, or people who are maybe not mental health professionals, but talk openly about mental health, that I want to have mental health focused conversations with because they inspire me, because everyone should talk about mental health. And I am very adamant about that. If you've listened to my other shoe therapy episodes, then you know this. And Aditi is one of those people. Aditi is a Peloton instructor. She teaches yoga, she teaches meditation, and she is also the managing director at Startup Girl Daily and Foundation. Their purpose is to promote female-founded businesses, so I absolutely love that. I am so honored that she wants to come have a conversation surrounding mental health with me. To be honest, I've struggled with anxiety in general through a lot of my life. I talk about it in the Botox episode. I talk about it in my relationship to alcohol episode. But when my anxiety was at its worst is kind of when I discovered Aditi. I was starting to take up yoga. I had been in an abusive relationship for a long time, and I was using yoga to help calm me because I was having a lot of panic attacks. I was newly going on Prozac, and me and my best friend Brooke we found ourselves very, very calmed by Aditi's voice with her meditations and in tandem yoga. And Aditi's voice still does that for me. If I am ever having anxiety or if I need to go to sleep without my phone in my hand and I need to be calmed down by a meditation, Aditi is the first person who I search for in the Peloton app. If you know me, you know I'm obsessed with Peloton through and through. I'm obsessed with every single instructor. I think that they are the epitome of feel good, fitness and wellness and mindfulness. But Aditi is someone who I've actually felt soothed by. So this is going to be a very special conversation. I'm so excited to pick her brain and learn from her how she has built a career on calming others. And first, before we dive into our conversation, and Aditi is here on this couch with me, I'm just going to go through my outfit behind the shoes because, of course, we talk about mental health in a cute outfit for shoe therapy. And my outfit, as always, has to do and connects to the topic at hand. So, haven't worn these Miu Miu flats in a while, but I love them. They are brocade, they are ballerina flats, they have the optional ribbon that I don't generally wear as much anymore, but I just love how their print, it feels calming to me. It's creative. There's also an edge with the buckle. And I feel like when we talk about mental health, we have to have this like certain boldness that allows us to go there. Because yeah, you should have confidence when you're talking about mental health and even your own struggles. So I think this shoe kind of represents that. And I love how it connects to the print on my Free People headscarf, which I've been wearing a lot lately. I just think that these like contrast patterns look pretty well together. And headscarves are my saving grace when my hair is really greasy and, you know, shitty. So that's just facts. However, this H&M jumpsuit, which is this ribbed silk jumpsuit that I've worn as a beach cover up, I've worn on planes. It is the most comfortable thing. And it allows me, it almost is like a second skin to me, honestly. I love the wide leg. I think it's flattering. I feel like it's like my ability to be naked pretty much with clothing on, if that makes sense. And on top of that, I am wearing this green gemstone jewelry set. It's a gold tone jewelry set. It's got a ring and then the little hoops. And I like the green gemstone because I feel like green, hence the green plate that we started with today. Oh, we have a baby who's going to help me. She's going to help me talk about mindfulness. She may be going away. I'm not sure how Aditi feels about cats. We'll see in a sec. But I feel like green is an energy color for me. Emerald is my birthstone. But beyond that, I am very soothed by the color green. So that is why we chose green gemstones today. I am wearing my engagement ring. And finally, I am wearing this very special necklace. It is a coin. It is a Roman coin that is like 2,000 years old, and it was gifted to me by my future father-in-law, very soon to be father-in-law, Ray, Nick's dad. I want to wear it at special moments. I want to wear it during moments that I am feeling grounded and am feeling my happiest. And I feel like this conversation is going to be a really great example of that. And it's a milestone for me that I'm having someone like Aditi on my podcast, someone who me and my best friend Brooke like have looked up to for so long. So yeah, that's that. Should we go get Aditi and see if she's at the door? Let's go. So I am here with Aditi Shah, who is a Peloton instructor. I have long loved taking her yoga classes and doing her meditations. Aditi, as you know, shoe therapy is having a conversation about mental health where it doesn't completely revolve around fashion, but we do it in a cute outfit or an outfit where we feel like it kind of represents the topic at hand. So tell me why you chose to wear what you're wearing today.
I'll be honest. I don't know if this outfit represents mindfulness, but it does represent me. And that's really what I think. Well, when I think about like the relationship between what you wear and how you feel, it's really important to wear things that you feel good about, that you feel represent you well, that maybe are helping you to do the things that you want to do to grow, whether that's like taking a risk, wearing more color. I'm making this up. We live in New York, right? Or I live in New York. So it's like, and I think that your clothes can really help do that. I'm wearing something that I think makes me feel good. So I've got a little strapless top, a fun necklace.
So fun.
And I'm actually really loving like the shorts trend that's happening right now, longer shorts. I wasn't sure if I'd be into it, but it's actually really, really fun. And it's fun to style. I feel like you can do it in so many ways. And then I am a person that's always cold. I run cold. So
do you want me to turn up? Is it cold?
No, I'm fine. But like I like always have a sweater with me or something like that. I was when I was a kid growing up in the car, my parents would be like, bring a sweater. And then I did bring fun shoes.
Tell me about your shoes, because this is a podcast that is named after shoes after all.
These are my shoes.
Love.
I've been wearing them. I love Paris, Texas, and I've been wearing them a lot lately.
Okay.
Because I've been going to a lot of basketball games. I mean, it is a Knicks summer.
Like 'tis the season.
It is a Knicks summer, and couldn't be happier, but also like it's really fun to sort of like dress up like, you know, a more athleisure outfit with fun shoes, and the mesh I feel like makes it like a nice.
It's a net.
Yes, it's a basketball shoe. Right.
I love it.
So I'm just like, it's my current shoe obsession, I would say.
Love. And it goes really well with your outfit. And I also feel like we kind of coordinate in a way too, because we're keeping it simple.
Yeah.
That's what I said about my outfit before you got here. I was like, it kind of like keeps me grounded, this jumpsuit, because I feel like it's like a second skin. I'm like, this is like, I feel naked, but with clothing on in this.
Yeah.
And I've had it for so long. But anyway, thank you for sharing that. Let's dive into the conversation.
All right.
I kind of want to know, because I was introduced to you like through Peloton, through this app that I have loved for years. But I want to know, like, before you got in to mindfulness and made that your career, was there like a problem in your life that you were trying to fix, or something internally that was like going on?
I mean, I will say I was a really angsty teenager. I think maybe many of us were. But more than that, I grew up with a lot of creative things in my life. Like I grew up singing and playing the violin and acting, and I just like really was into those things, but I never thought any of that would be my career. In fact, I asked my parents. I was also obsessed with soccer. You could imagine my parents being like, you're not going to be a professional soccer player, and you're not going to be a violinist, and no, you can't go to acting school, like go to school and study something else. So I ended up studying math, and my dad worked in finance. Like my family's really in like the finance or like software programming kind of a space. Okay. And I was the only one that wasn't super interested in that, but I was like, this is what I'm going to do. And so I did the things. I did an internship, studied math. I studied math because I really didn't like chemistry also.
Okay. I was so bad at science and math. Like I was the opposite of you. I was like, English. That was it.
I wanted to study, actually. I feel like I wanted to do that, but I would say the reason I chose pure math is I feel like it's different than an applied math or like engineering, for example. It's kind of like a different language.
Yeah.
I think of music and math that way. Like a lot of people can read music or understand math in a way that to me just feels like you've just learned a different language. Anyway, so I studied math. I thought I was going to work in finance, and then I immediately was like, no, I'm not. I hate this. So basically after I graduated, I got a job. I left it. And this is where I feel like the journey began. So I grew up playing soccer and I grew up running track. And when I went to Rutgers, I realized that the soccer team was going to be a lot more intense than what I wanted for myself. I wanted to do something like a little bit more casual.
Yeah.
So I still ran, but I was kind of looking for other things that would feel good, like that I would like to do and move my body. And when I was a kid, my dad would bring like yoga teachers over. And so that's how I got introduced to yoga. And I didn't love it as a kid because I was so ADD. I don't know. I don't know if I was really ADD, but I was like literally could not sit still. I was like climbing trees, barefoot, all over the place. Like I see photos of myself when I was a kid and like my hair is always a mess. Like my mom is always putting me in a dress that's always like totally messed up. I was not like put together in any way and I couldn't really be still. And then I think like something just clicked where I was like, maybe I'll try yoga in college. And so I kind of just went down this little rabbit hole of exploring.
Okay. Did you do it by yourself? Were there other people at school that were doing it?
No, I just went, it was a solo endeavor.
Okay.
And also, as I was finishing high school, my parents moved to India. My mom moved here for my dad so that my little brother could go to college in one place. So they've sold their house. I go to college. After school, I don't have like a home in New Jersey anymore. I don't have like a backup for, I mean, I have like some relatives, but I was like, what am I doing with my life? And this is where this all starts to take place because I'm like, what am I doing with my life? And it just started to feel good to do yoga. I'm like, oh, wow, this practice just is like helping calm the mental noise. I don't really know why or how. And I didn't even really know like why like the teachers I liked or anything like that, because I was also doing like random videos sometimes. You know, it was like I was moving around and I ended up going to India because I was like that at the time also was like that's where my parents were,
Of course. Yeah.
and I was actually just practicing yoga at home there. And I remember my mom just being like, it seems like you really like this, maybe you want to like open a yoga studio. And I was like, no, I definitely would never want to do that. I was like, I just want to do this for myself. And I like completely moved on. But I feel like that practice, not only did I feel it, but I feel like the people around me noticed and were just like, this seems like it's good for you. Maybe you should keep doing this.
Yeah.
And so it really started there with just this movement practice that made me feel better. Structured breath. The learnings you get from just a repetitive practice. And I, of course, for me, it's yoga, but for a lot of people, it could be something else. I think if you show up every day to something, you really do learn about yourself. And it taught me a lot of patience because I was not good. Not that I think good is actually something that means anything in yoga, but I spent my whole life running. You know, I was like, my hamstrings are very tight. My hips are very tight. I like didn't feel comfortable in all these postures. But as I repeated the practice, it started to become clear to me that things just take time. And what's important is to continue to show up. I have like a really old journal entry about this too, of like, things just take time.
Do you keep and reread your old journals?
I don't often reread them, but once in a while I'm like I have like kind of like a shoebox or two full of like old stuff.
That's cool. I'm jealous that you have that.
Really?
I don't have my old journals, but like I would love to read my old stuff. Yeah, that's special.
It really brings you way back and sometimes feels very emotional. I'm like, oh my God, like I was so angsty or I was so sad or this person that I like thought about or like this note from, I literally have so much.
Or like you're writing about an emotion that you like didn't realize you could like access when you were that young and you're like, what was going on?
There's so many. I was like, why did that was so wise. And I was a child.
Right? Yeah.
But I think I was really introspective at that time, obviously, because I didn't have a job. And I was also spending all of this time doing these practices. And I think it wasn't just yoga. It was also like a lot of wellness at the time. I was like, I want to feel better. I'm going to do all the things I can do to feel better. Meditation took longer.
Okay.
Because I think meditation is something that requires you to find the right meditation practice and the right teacher. And maybe if you are born into a tradition, different conversation, but I know that what I was introduced to growing up wasn't working for me. And I started exploring a bit. And I think in my opinion, one of the reasons that meditation doesn't stick for people, and I'm just like a meditation pusher, like my dream is forever to meditate actually. So And I can help with that. So, but I think what I realized searching for meditation is if you just do a practice without context and understanding, like, what am I doing? What is this tradition? Like, what are the tenets of it? Where am I going? What does quote unquote success look like? How do I evaluate if I am doing it right? Because I think we all often think we're failing or we're doing it wrong, but we actually are just using the wrong measuring stick.
Yeah.
So it took me a long time to find a teacher who really resonated with me. Her name is Tara Brock.
Okay.
I mean, she has taught millions of people at this point, I'm sure. And I actually just discovered her through podcasts. Like, she has a podcast it's like free meditations. I love her. And I just sort of went on this path. I did a bunch of trainings with her.
Okay.
But I mean, she sort of led me to this practice of it's insight meditation or mindfulness meditation or Vipassana. And that type of meditation practice made sense to me.
Okay. So you really do kind of have to like discover the right track, the right person for you. Like, it's almost like finding a therapist too. Like, we've gone through different therapists in our lives that like we didn't necessarily connect with. But when you find the right one that you feel you can open up with.
I think it's the right practice.
Okay.
But maybe it's a little bit, maybe it is a little bit like therapy or dating where it's like you just have to like, it's the right thing makes sense. It clicks. They're like, wait, I understand what you're saying. Because also meditation practices are so esoteric.
Okay.
It's very hard to put words to things in meditation sometimes. And so it's like, I try very hard not to over-explain because I want people to take the experience away of what they're feeling. And I don't want them to over-intellectualize and think too much about the philosophy or whatever it's supposed to be. I want people to feel the thing. And I think that's the kind of teacher that I am. But other people need other things. Other people need
100%.
the explanation. And so I think that's what I mean by like finding the right teacher.
Yeah, that makes sense. So when you were going through this like transformation and you moved back home and then you eventually moved back to the city, what was going on like internally? Were you just like riding the wave or were you stressed out about it at all, making all these changes?
Well, I think I've always been a little bit on the anxious side. So I would say I was at a higher peak of anxiety in that moment of just like believing that my life was over and I was never going to have a job or amount to anything is sort of where I was at. I was like, man, I messed that up and I wish I could go back to 7th grade because what did I do with my life? You know, and this is like when I was still a kid.
Yeah.
But I was so angsty and it's not like I don't struggle with some of these things still today. But when I look back, I'm like, okay, I was really hard on myself.
Yeah.
I'm really lucky in that my mom she is somebody that has, even though maybe I didn't recognize it when I was younger, but she's really encouraged me to go out and try things. And she's always believed that like I can do it. And like I think if I told her now that I wanted to be a doctor, which is something she always wanted, like I think until I was probably like 27, she's like, you should be a pediatrician. I really, really think you'd enjoy it. I'm like, Mom, I don't even like kids that much. Like, okay.
That would be
I'm not going back to school now.
But
it was like, she was like, you should be a software programmer. I did it. You would love it. Like but she just thinks if I said now I wanted to do that, she would be so down. Yeah. You know?
Yeah.
So I think it was helpful, at least to have somebody in my corner that was like, I don't know what it means to, because I spent a lot of time acting after that too. Like to be an actor, I have no idea what it means to be an actor, but you should do it. That's like my mom's perspective. She's like, if you want to do it, now is the time, go for it. You know, I'll help you. We'll find you an apartment, whatever. Like, you know, and I think because she had a life, like my parents come from these little villages, or small towns in Rajasthan. They were arranged to be married. My mom got married at 17.
Okay.
She had my older brother, her first child, at 19. I think she didn't have as much opportunity, right?
Yeah.
She was very lucky. My dad won the green card lottery, so moved the visa lottery, and so moved to New York, and she learned how to speak English, all of these things to make a life for herself, and she's brilliant. But I think for her, she's like, okay, another like. Also, specifically, I think as a woman, she didn't have as much opportunity. So she was like, for me, she was like, I'm not going to do that. And even if I don't understand the thing that you want to do, we're going to do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so that's really helpful.
Yeah. It's great that she supported you through all of it. How did you get how did Peloton come into play? Because then like
They slid into my DMs.
really, what were you teaching somewhere at the time?
Yes.
Okay.
So I came to New York to continue the story. I came to New York to go to Stella Adler.
Okay.
And I was like, you know what? I should just do a yoga teacher training because I love yoga because I was practicing it all the time. And I was like, I had this idea that one day I was going to retire and open a yoga studio.
Okay.
I was like, I don't want to teach, but I'll start a business.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'll do a training so I can just start to get like the things I need under my belt. And I went to a bunch of studios in New York City to see what it was like. I was looking for maybe an opportunity to learn. And there was a studio that had an operations manager position open. So I asked them about it and they were just like, oh, we filled that internally. But if you want to get like any kind of a managerial position at the studio, you should do the mentorship program. And the mentorship program is like one step after you do your teacher training.
Okay.
And it included teaching. But yes, everyone was kind of hired out of the program. So I was like, okay, whatever. I'll do this program. And I think in that program, as I began to teach, it just started to feel easeful. Like it just felt natural. I still didn't think I wanted to teach all the time or anything.
Okay.
But I did get hired out of the program, both to be a manager and to teach there. It made me realize that I do not want to open a studio in New York City. And I taught, I would say, 4, maybe 5 classes a week. So not like a ton.
Okay.
And I still have my agency and I was just like doing my normal stuff, my like life. And the one thing I did do was start running teacher trainings because I was really interested in like the learning of everything. And I wanted to learn the philosophy and I wanted to like be a part of that. So yeah, I taught one of these like, I don't know, it's sad this doesn't exist in New York anymore, but like one of those like 60-person classes at a studio, like everybody would go to.
So cool.
And that culture is gone. But at the same time, I think that's probably how Peloton found me. So I think Peloton was at the time thinking about opening or starting a yoga vertical. And yes, and they had Dennis Porton DM me, and it's still in my DMs, being like, hey, you know, like we're looking at this, like, do you want to chat and sign an NDA and then come, you know, like try out? So I actually remember what I was wearing because also like, okay, I will say when I first moved here, I had like not a lot of savings, or I had some savings, but I was like, I'm not going to spend my savings. New York is so expensive. I got a 6th floor walk up, on like the corner of Bleecker and Christopher that I was obsessed with.
Great location.
But literally you could stand in the kitchen and have like one arm into my bedroom and one arm into the bathroom. It was a 2-bedroom and I lived with like a lot of different people. And anyway, so I remember like when I moved, I had like 1 pair of Lululemon pants. And I remember though for my Peloton audition, I was like, I'm going to wear this really cute like A-day tank top and like tie it up and like just like I want to look nice on camera. But it was like not a lot of choices, I would say.
Yeah.
Anyway, but yeah, so Peloton knocked on my door. I walked down to the studio, which was at Christopher Street at the time.
Okay.
And I taught 2 10-minute classes. But I would say I'm also lucky in that Peloton is an interesting mix of things, right? It's like you walk into a studio as a yoga teacher, you're not expecting to get mic'd up and then to be in a room by yourself with a whole bunch of cameras.
Yeah.
And I think I feel lucky that I, at that point, was already comfortable speaking to a camera. That helped a lot, that I'd already done that. And I'm like, great, I'm going to teach my class and look at these cameras, you know, and I was kind of fine with it.
Yeah.
And then there was just like a long interview process. And I do remember, what I do remember is one thing that has remained the same is that I'm into meditation. And I was like, everybody that I talked to, everyone I interviewed with, I was like, I think you should do meditation. Because they were like thinking about it. I was like, I think you should do it. And I'm in this great program. And after every interview, I would send an email and I would include a meditation in it that I thought they would like. And I was like, I feel like you would love this one.
Yeah.
I was like, we're going to do this. And here we are.
That's amazing. So you kind of like helped them start the meditation program in that way.
Well, it was all new. So
Okay.
it was me, Anna Greenberg, and Kristen McGee who began the yoga program. They were hired like shortly before I did, but we like collectively started the yoga program and we all did the meditation program too. I think I was just somebody who really wanted it to happen when they weren't sure about it. But I was the first teacher because I was like so into it. And still am.
Yeah, it's been a while.
It has been a while.
Incredible.
It has been a while. And I remember at the time it was just like scary. It's like, wow, I'm giving up my life to do this. And what if they just change their mind in 3 months? Like, who knows what's going to happen? Or also like, what if these people who are like part of the cycling cult really don't want to do what I'm teaching?
Yeah. Yeah.
So it was interesting, but it obviously worked out. Love my job.
Yes. And now it's so important. It's crucial to people who use Peloton. But that actually brings me to my next question, which is about success. Because to a lot of people now, Peloton equals success. You are a Peloton instructor. You are pretty much a famous public figure. People look to you. They like rely on you in the morning when they wake up. Like, it's a big deal. Do you feel like you ever got to a point where you were like, this is success? Did you feel like you were kind of chasing that or chasing fulfillment? And then like, do you feel like success to you is this like idea that you're still looking for?
Wow. I'm going to just process what you said because I know I don't. And I suspect that nobody that I work with is waking up being like, wow, I made it.
You don't think
I'm
so?
a famous public figure that everyone listens to. You know, like I hear what you're saying.
And it's like more than we need other public figures that are out there. Seriously. I mean, it helps people like go through their lives and like function.
Thank you. I think that what Peloton is very special. And I think what's very special about it is its humanity and authenticity and the connections that like, even though I can't see you, like I do see your leaderboard name and I do like, I think sometimes I also have a relationship with the people who are taking my classes, even though I don't know them per se. But when it comes to success, I feel like I don't want to define success as, wow, okay. I don't want to define success as something specific that happens in my career. I want to define success and redefine it for myself as often as I need, as what I feel within, as in like, I feel fulfilled, I feel whole, I feel that I'm doing something that feels meaningful to me, that sustains me, or I'm putting something meaningful into the world. You know, when I did decide to teach yoga, it's because it was something that helped me. And I was like, oh, I can be a conduit. I can share this experience that at the end of the day, I think there's a thread between all the things that I've really loved doing, whether it's like, you know, creative endeavor, like music, storytelling, meditation, yoga, all these things are opportunities for us to really find a shared thread of humanity at the end of the day. Whatever that looks like. I think meditation really, really, really is all about storytelling. It's like the stories you're telling yourself, the stories the world has told you, and how you choose to believe them or change them or rewrite them. And I think, you know, yoga is this practice that, again, it's like helping you to define and understand your relationship to yourself and the world. And so I feel like all of these things are kind of, they have that commonality. And that, to me, being able to live in a world where I can make a living doing something that feels so connected, that feels successful. But I also think there's more I can do.
But when did you feel comfortable, I guess? Because I feel like you talked about for a while you being like unsure what you wanted to do. And then you finally land at Peloton and like other people view you as successful, like I do. Do you still feel like you're like reaching for something else? Like, do you not feel like you're in a place of like, this is what I meant to do?
I love my job, but I also hope that there are many more chapters. And I think I hope that for everybody. Like, I want to be somebody that grows and evolves. I don't think that means I like necessarily stop doing what I'm doing, but I feel that, first of all, I think anybody can reinvent themselves like whenever they want to.
Yeah.
And having made so many changes in my life, like obviously the career, moving to India, moving back from India, like all these things, like I do have like, there's something in me that believes that I can do it, which maybe is like slightly unhinged, but like I do feel like I'm like, I also feel like if I wanted to be a pediatrician now, I could be.
Of course. No, 100%. Like, definitely. But you're choosing to continue doing this.
I am choosing to do this because I really do think it's like a cool job. It is such a cool job. I like feel like it's so wonderful. And I actually have you know, I will say any job, I'm sure you have bad days, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I get to have this folder on my phone where I save when people DM me about, you know, how this class helped them or what their relationship is to me in some positive way. I actually save those DMs and I put into a folder called
But that's
My
what
Why.
I'm talking about. That's what I'm like people like wake up and they're like, well, Aditi's going to get me through the day.
No, and what a privilege. What a privilege. And I really like I could like cry. Like it really does make a huge difference also to me. Like all I want is for people to meditate and like to feel better.
Yeah.
And
It's more important to like awaken your mind in that way than it maybe even is to like move your body, right? Like I think I completely know what you're saying, and I think meditation is important in that way too. Do you feel like if you were to look back at the younger version of yourself who just looked at yoga as like this thing you were picking up at college because like you wanted to find something new, like do you think she would be like shocked at the woman?
Oh my God, 100%. There's first of all, obviously this job did not exist when I was growing up, so there's no way I could have aspired to it. But I think I really did buy into the idea of like, I'm going to be like a business person or a doctor of science or whatever. Like, I think that what my parents thought or wanted for me was so ingrained. It was just, I took it for granted. I was like, yeah, absolutely. Like, I remember having one conversation about I remember having a conversation about music, and I remember having a conversation about acting school. And I remember my parents just being like, listen, like, do what you want to do. Don't stop doing it. But like, we suspect you won't be happy if your life is the life of a violinist, which I don't know actually.
Who knows?
If that's true. I don't know if that's true. But I think for them at that time, they were worried that I would be poor.
Yeah.
Like realistically, they were just worried that I'd be poor.
Yeah. Yeah. No.
And I will say, I now can look back and say, if I was stubborn, my mom would have supported me anyway. They would have been like, we don't get it, but fine.
Yeah, it seems like your mom, like, did always say, we'll, like, figure that out then. Like, let's do it.
Yeah. She'd be like, I really don't understand you, but, like, okay. But anyway, I think that was just so ingrained in my head. There's no way I could have imagined that I would be here.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's incredible. And I think, like, it's, like you said, it's a very cool job to have. And you meet people all the time, which brings me to, like, my relationships question. So throughout your life, have you ever had a relationship where, like, you learned so much about yourself? I feel like we've all had those relationships. I was in an abusive relationship myself. I'm with my fiance now, but for 8 years, I was in an abusive relationship. And, like, oh, it's okay. Like, if I didn't go through those 8 years, then it wouldn't have, like, ended, and I wouldn't be here with my fiance now, who, like, is incredible. But I learned, like, I said this when I introed you. I actually, like, learned about you, and I started to meditate and do yoga when I was in that abusive relationship, and I started to have panic attacks. I'm a runner, and I had always used Peloton for running. But when I was having the panic attacks, on top of going on Prozac, I also started to meditate and use your meditations and your yoga. And it, like, I learned so much about myself doing that, because I was kind of like you, where I was always like, I'm a runner. I would never slow my body down like that. I don't sweat. Like, it is life-changing what, like, yoga and meditation can bring someone. What about you? What relationships have you,
oh my goodness,
discovered things about yourself from?
I will say, let me just start by saying dating is really difficult in New York.
Yeah.
I remember actually the first, like, mini relationship I was in like high school, and being so inequipped for it, and then having a breakup, which again maybe did for like a week. I didn't, like, know what I was doing. But my mom sitting with me and just telling me that she couldn't be that helpful because she had never dated before, because she had an arranged marriage. And I think I was really lost when it came to dating for a very long time. And I don't mean, like, you know, high school. I mean, like, into adulthood. I think I didn't know what I needed for a really long time. I also feel like that's another reason why all of these practices have been a part of my life, is for me to be able to discover for myself what these things are. I've always been somebody that is willing to like bend way over backwards for somebody else, and to the point where it could also maybe not make that relationship work because you don't want to do that forever.
Yeah.
So I was in a long-term relationship in the past. I was actually engaged, and I did post about it. So I feel like a lot of people in the Peloton community probably remember this.
Okay.
And we broke it off in 2021.
Okay.
So it's been a minute.
Kind of during the pandemic. Yeah, that was like.
But I also think that obviously any kind of a big event like that is necessarily going to force you into some self-reflection. Like, how did I get here? What are the behavioral patterns, or what is it that like brought me to this place? Like, and what do I want for myself moving forward? That definitely was a pivotal moment in my life. But similar to what you said, I wouldn't change anything.
Yeah.
I am really glad that, one, like, I also wish the best, you know, for my ex-partner. And I don't know that he was going to get the best from me because we weren't clearly, it wasn't working. And I wish him happiness. And I also wish happiness for myself.
Right.
And so I don't feel necessarily like regretful about it. Are there things I would change? Sure. But I wouldn't, I don't think that I feel like I wish that it never happened. I think that it actually allowed me to grow so much.
Yeah.
Like, I really learned to like trust myself, figured out a little bit more of what I need. I think it really like showed me what mattered to myself.
Being alone after a relationship like that, especially if it's long term, but more so like if we were both engaged and you were actually going to move forward in your whole life with this person, like when you're alone after that, you are forced to grow. Like you have no other option, especially like in the moments of, am I ready to date or not? Like that's a question you have to sit with by yourself, and like no one else has the answer. You can go out there and like learn lessons that show you maybe, but you end up answering it for yourself. So yeah, you have to grow. And like I think I'm the same way. Like, yeah, it was a long time out of my life, but like, and like, sure, like I could go back and be like, oh, I regret that I didn't like do this here because then maybe we would have broken up sooner and then maybe I would have been able to get on with my life sooner. But like, no, because like everything had to happen the way it did.
Yeah, it had to unfold the way that it did.
Yeah.
I couldn't have forced it to be different than it was. And I really think that the most wonderful thing that came out of it was me understanding a lot more about myself, but also for me, because my parents were planning a wedding and I had to tell them that I was no longer going to be getting married. Like it really changed so many of the relationships around me too. Like my friends, like for me to realize like I have partners for life and those are my friends. And I'm not actually alone in this world because I'm not in a relationship. Like there were just all these things that popped up that were really wonderful for me. And I just got to sort of like rediscover my whole life and reintroduce myself to myself.
Yes. It totally made me like be more grateful for sisterhood in a way that like now
I know
I will never like I really hate to say it, and like I say it in front of my fiance too, and I feel bad, but like sisterhood is like the most important thing in the world to me. Like,
I know. I'm dating somebody now, and I like feel the same way.
Yeah.
And my girlfriends and I talk about it. And
same. And my friends are like, my best friend is like, I will like, she doesn't have a partner yet, but she's like, when I have a partner, I will always choose my partner first. Like I love you, and you're my, and I'm just like, I don't know what it is. Maybe it is because of the relationship, but like sisterhood to me will always be the most important thing. Like I could be with my fiance for 25 years and I'm still going to be like, my girls are my girls for life.
Yeah, I
like,
don't ever foresee for either of us like you're never going to have to pick between.
Yeah,
but I do think there is often something that happens where people evolve once they're in relationships that I'm like, I absolutely will not be doing that. Like I will be married to my friends as well.
Yes, 100%. Well, that actually brings me to my next question, which is about mindfulness, like if there's anything that you feel like mindfulness hasn't fixed that you find the solution to in other ways in your life.
I don't think that mindfulness or yoga or any of these practices are like a solution for all.
Okay.
Like things are still going to go wrong. And I'm definitely not like a serene person floating through life. You know,
Okay.
like we're still gonna have to face life.
Yeah.
I think that what mindfulness offers is just like different tools to then deal with the life things that are happening. Or all of these different things are different tools you have to deal with them. I will say the one thing about meditation specifically, and maybe also yoga, like I think self-reflective practices, the thing about them is you don't know you need them sometimes until something is happening.
Yeah.
But if you practice them before something is happening, you have like this reservoir on the inside that's so helpful. You know, it's like you don't want to fix the roof when it's raining. And I don't think we think about our mental health and our capacity that way, like our inner life in that way. Learning to get to know and befriend our inner life and learning how to like give ourselves some of that energy that allows us to meet moments that are difficult is what these practices offer.
Yes. And that will bring me to my final question for you, which is like, and it's almost a personal question because I completely agree. I feel like you need to like you said, like lay the groundwork. You don't want to fix the roof when it's raining. I have OCD and I find myself making sure that I'm reminding myself to practice meditation, to journal by putting these things on my to-do list. What is your suggestion for someone who happens to look at being mindful or meditating as a chore or something to do? How do you change your relationship?
Yeah, that's a great question, actually.
I'm like, help.
No, I mean, realistically, I'm like, sometimes I feel that way too. Sometimes I'm like, not like joyfully doing whatever practice I'm doing. For context, I used to practice Ashtanga yoga, which is like this type of yoga where you do the exact same sequence every day. And then your teacher gives you more poses as you go. But it's like for years, the exact same thing. Right. And I think what I've learned from that anyway, I think what you learn is it's okay to show up when you don't feel like it. It's going to add up anyway. And you're allowed to have bad days. But if the practice as a whole doesn't feel good, maybe it's not the right practice.
That's really helpful. That's really helpful because I think there are times when I am doing certain practices, because I've tried many of them, where when I'm doing it, I find myself thinking so much about what the practice is and whether or not I'm enjoying it. And I think maybe I'm not.
Yeah.
And I don't want to admit that to myself.
And yes, and I think that it's okay. Like, I don't think everything is for everybody. And I feel like if we could, I hear you on like, I feel that way too, of like wanting to do the things that I'm supposed to do that are supposed to make me feel better. And sometimes it's just a mood.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just stressed.
That's true.
That's true. But at the end of the day, if it's not actually making you feel better, like 9 times out of 10, you're feeling bad about it. I'm just not convinced it's the right practice.
Yeah. Or maybe like you said in the very beginning of this conversation, like change the type of practice.
Yes. And also, I would say there's sort of like explorations around that of like, are you judging yourself about it? Like there's other little things around it. Like, is the reason that you're not enjoying this because of the practice or because of you also?
Yeah.
Because I just say that because obviously as somebody that loves meditation, I think a lot of people don't like meditation because they just think they're bad at it because they're like, oh, I didn't completely clear my brain of thoughts or whatever it is. And then they're just like, I'm doing this wrong, or this is supposed to help me grow in this way. And I can't track this growth. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like if you let go of a lot of that, you might actually find some goodness coming your way.
That's the first step to like actually let meditation work for you.
Yeah. But I think that probably is true for many other things as well.
Totally.
And then I would just say to look for one of the things the sneaky things to look for that feels good. If like for anybody that's not feeling good about their practices, look for the opportunities to grow. Like, how cool is it to be like, oh, this is a challenge and I'm growing. Like I feel that way. I still sing, and whenever something comes up that's like new, I'm like, I feel like my first feeling is like frustration and stress and like wanting, and then beneath it I'm like, wow, this is gonna push me to be a better singer, like to learn something new. Like, wow, maybe this is gonna make me want to do more or whatever it is, you know? And so I think there's something there, and like just also looking for the good.
Yeah. Maybe one day you'll be a singer too. Because you could.
I'll let my mom know.
Well, thank you so much for being here. I loved having this conversation with you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah.
This was so fun.